Group Pesher, anybody, and as I'm Christian, I decided to do a special video which gonna last dozen of minutes for the war in Syria and to present to the exposure of the Christian vindicative in Syria. Even if we don't want to kill anybody, the friend of the Christian vindicative could defend themselves. Or we're gonna show you about the war in Syria and about the jihadist movement threatening let's start by the declaration of war between Turkey and Syria and what is happening a bit in the Middle East. Israel strikes Syria and a challenge to Turkey. Israel strike consider a war into Turkey to keep its military assets away for April 2025. Al Jazeera News. Today's last update from Al Jazeera. Where the Middle East is in escalation and Trump wants to start warfare. Also, they're funding new oil deep and arm on the ground everywhere. There is a crisis ongoing in the Middle East, as do you see by the updates? Or it's all happening in the Middle East between belligerents. Israel-Gaza crisis. Also in Gaza there are new wars happening between actual Hamas group for liberation of Palestine and the IDF Defense Force. The Middle East overview. Syria. Rebel faction take control 13 years after the start of the Syrian civil war. Syria is in danger. Where we're gonna see the direct declaration of war and a bit of update by this new video with a commentary explicit for what is happening. Let's see. We are already at 3 minutes of video. Or by the minute you can see there's a clear win ongoing by Israel on the A and on the Z side. I don't know if we can take this figure seriously. Is being caused by the ground, the serious YouTuber. It is one of the most serious on the platform, so taking it serious. We are still going to look at the video to make clear about what is happening lately. And we see that Germany is going a war with Poland, Russia is a war with Ukraine, etc. etc. We're gonna watch just a piece of this video. Let's see what is happening. Let's watch this, the first of the war.
Night and overcast weather. When all this is summed up, Israel would be the one who'd be finding more targets, who'd be landing more bombs and missiles on those targets, and who'd be protecting both its air fleets and its national borders more efficiently. It's hard to say by how much, but even if it's by a little, it would add up over time. Turkey would have two choices: to play defensively, not venturing outside its borders. That way it might keep its air force alive longer and inflict sizable, perhaps even comparable damage to Israeli air forces. Or it could decide to attack with a large ground force via Syria and fairly quickly lose most of its air forces that would be trying to protect those vast ground formations, and then gradually suffer sizable losses in vehicles as well. as Israel keeps pounding them while those approach Israeli borders. If Israel would press forward through Syria with its ground forces, it too would need to rely on air cover, which would mean that once near Turkey, their numerical advantage in air would melt away, and the protection of Israeli air defenses would be more or less non-existent. Israeli SAM systems, while potent, are not really designed to be very mobile. Turkish HISAR SAMs are much more mobile, though not of long enough reach nor available in high enough numbers yet. Israel too would lose some vehicles to Turkish air power, though on a lesser scale. Israeli ground troop.
This scenario is pretty much realistic as Israel fight a really large army, losing just a few hundred troopers in respect to the some thousand troopers to have died in the conflict with Israel, for example, in the War of the 6 Days. But however, what is happening is unfeasible by Israel and by Turkey. They're fighting each other over a conflict or a straight accusation about what is happening in Syria. And I think this shall be impossible between countries like Russia or USA. Nobody will request a day anymore. But they are in the Middle East and they can do whatever the fuck they want. And I think that this is what is happening. Or this is sad because there are the civilians dying. But it's not like the was where millions of French soldiers died because it was a long after like Iraq, Afghanistan. You can win in a place like Syria, where Israel already know how to fight. Israel is experienced already in anti-guerrilla attack, but just to also go consider the tier counterparts of Syria. So I think that this video isn't realistic and it's better to change video. Let's check come in. Okay. I don't think this video gonna last dozen minutes, so let's run a bit into it. If you want to find some new update, you can go. You can easily receive a few that I worked over there. Take you some second to pause to directly Google it.
And US President Donald Trump
There you can see also the latest
highly
news that I
anticipated
have
and
updated
significant
on my
talks are
channel.
expected to take place
Right
on
there,
Saturday between the
where
United
there
States
is
and
what
Iran. President Trump says that Israel will lead military action if needed
Iran
and if talks
leader
are unsuccessful.
Vladimir
ILTV's Deborah Klein has
the
more.
United States of
U.S. President
America
Donald Trump says that if
actually can
military
stop the
action
war.
becomes necessary to prevent Iranian
Of
nuclearization,
course,
Israel will not only
possible
participate, it
by
will
both
take the lead.
sides.
But with Iran, if we
Probably, possibly, they will meet each other in the war.
And US President Donald Trump claims
Let's
that
open up
progress
on
is
a
being
chapter
made
in
on the
episode.
return of the hostages in Gaza and that he was dealing with both Israel and Hamas. However, he gave no other details about the talks. This comes as Israel continued to strike targets in Gaza City. The latest strikes came in Shujaya area.
You can see for a video. Very shocking ones. The Syrian opposition army would have overtaken the Syrian civil war against the Syrian Baptist regime. The Syrian opposition would have joined the jihad in the strange video of by General Paraguay over the